Okay, so here we are once again. Let me make sure that I'm going to come up on the screen here. Make sure the volume's down. Because I don't like to hear myself talk. Well, I don't like to hear myself talk in the video when I'm already talking. All right, here we go. We're up. And I wasn't sure what I was going to open up today. I've been kind of playing it by ear for, the past few weeks. And I've been having fun with that. Like I get to do a lot of these big themes and things like that, where like I'm opening up several of the several figures that fit into a certain theme. And I decided to take a bit of a break from that and just do some random stuff for a while. But if you like the big themes, don't worry, there's another one coming up, because I've got a ton of Masters of the Universe cartoon collection 2000X figures. I was thinking I had all of them so far, but I'd forgotten to get Ram Man. That I didn't have Ram Man. So I have all of them that are currently available except for Ram Man. I have Merman and Tila pre-ordered, and that means that there's going to be two more figures coming out around that same time that I'll still need to get, that I don't have them pre-ordered yet. But I might try to pre-order them next week. Who knows? Just to make sure I make sure I'm able to get them. But I would still need to pre-order Orko and Ram Man. And hey, speaking of Orko, that's what I got to open up for you guys today. I got the Masters of the Universe Revolution Masterverse edition of Orko and Gwildor. Now, we've opened one Masterverse Orko on this channel before, because I opened up the 2-pack of Orko and the Savage He-Man. And that version of Orko was Orko at kind of his low point, at a low ebb in his magic, and you can see his robe was all tattered and everything like that. But this is the resurrected Orko. This is Orko the White. For a guy who was making fun of Lord of the Rings and Clerks 2, he wound up doing Orko the White. I don't think they ever call him that on the show, but hey, he came back from the dead and he's wearing a white outfit. What else am I supposed to call him at that point? So we'll go ahead and cut the tape on there. We got some nice artwork here with Orko and Gwildor. And you can see Gwildor has like what looks like a reproduction of the original Gwildor action figure, his version of the Cosmic Key. He's got the power sword that he has adapted. He's got his staff that we remember from the movie Cosmic Key. Orko's got some spell effects. And then the cross-style artwork on the back here, we got Sorceress Tila, Man-at-Arms, that's the new Eternia Man-at-Arms, the new Eternia Trapjaw, and Skeletech, which is just called Skeletor on the back here, but they called him Skeletech on the show. So that's the only figure from this cross-style artwork that I don't have, is Skeletech. Man, I took the tape off the bottom, and now the bottom's just wanting to pop out. So let's see. It says, Gwildor, heroic creator of the Cosmic Key, and Orko, heroic court magician. Eternia is a world of magic and technology, and no two beings represent these forces better than the spell-wielding Orko and the master inventor Gwildor. These two heroes use their combined talents to upgrade P-Man's power sword for the battle against evil. Yeah, they add some tech to it so that he can undo the nanites. It's a whole thing. So everybody knows, I think, that watches this channel, everybody should have a good idea that I'm a big fan of the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie. I talk about it a good bit, and I really enjoyed that movie. A lot of people had a lot of problems with that movie, and one of them was Gwildor. A lot of people didn't like Gwildor because they thought that Gwildor was a replacement for Orko. And I guess he was in a way, because he was like the diminutive comic relief. But he's a very different character from Orko, and I don't think anything shows that better than the Masters of the Universe Revolution cartoon, where you actually have Orko and Gwildor working together as kind of like this comedy duo, and I think they play off of each other really well. I think that was some really nice moments in that show. Future DC Warrior Action is here and says, "Oh my God, Alan, I have that Gwildor Orko 2-pack too." Yeah, I just got him like it was not even the last big bad toy store order that I got, but the one before that. So I've still got stuff from that I'm opening up. You know, I get around to this stuff when I get around to it a lot of the times. And I got him, and I got the movie version of Evil Lynn, which I'm planning on opening up tomorrow. So I realize there's a lot of movie characters I still need to get. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Blade, and I doubt I'm going to be able to get Beastman at this point, because Beastman is expensive. They did not make many Beastman, I guess. He's pretty expensive in the aftermarket. And I missed out on him when he was first released. He like sold out so fast. But anytime they try to do any kind of movie figures, I try to pick them up. And this is at least movie adjacent. It's not 100% the movie version of Gwildor. It's based on the animated design, and they did simplify some things, and it doesn't quite look like Billy Barty in the movie. They made his nose a little shorter. They made his ears a little longer. They made his hair a little more, gave it a little more body to it, I guess. Future DC Warrior Action says, "I love the 1987 movie always. The director said Orko was in the original script. So is She-Ra, and they were thinking of making Orko a type of labyrinth-type puppet, but it didn't work." And that's unfortunate. And honestly, like I said, I don't feel like these characters are mutually exclusive. I think they work really well together in the animated series. So they could have had both Gwildor and Orko. Maybe they might have not cast Billy Barty. Maybe they would have made Gwildor like, you know, a different, not a diminutive character. If they already had Orko, maybe they would have done that. But I don't think there's really any reason they would have had to. But I always really liked Gwildor because I'm a big fan of Billy Barty. I just think he's a great actor. So there's a image on the side of Orko and Gwildor together. Gwildor with his staff. You can see Gwildor's staff over here. I'm glad that they included that. So I'm glad they included the extra power sword, because, you know, there's He-Man figures that for whatever reason don't come with a power sword. So you can always give this to one of them. Or what I might do is I might try to make a custom of He-Man as he appeared in the final episode of this this series, because I really like that design, and it doesn't look like they're going to get around to doing a Masterverse version of that at this point, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and open it up. Get this out of here. So yeah, this was a deluxe 2-pack. This was supposed to be like a deluxe thing. And I don't know if it sold that well, because it seems to me like it is something that's very easy to get for inexpensive these days. Like, I only paid like $20 for this on Big Bad Toy Store, give or take a couple of bucks. Future DC Warrior says, "I remember as a kid there was a contest to be in the 1987 movie, and you would get to meet He-Man and She-Ra on the set, and then She-Ra wasn't in it." Yeah, well, I guess they didn't have much control over that, but the winner of that contest, here's the funny thing. It was originally just supposed to be like a scene that took place on Earth or something, and they wound up not being able to shoot it. There's a little paper bag, by the way. I don't think I pointed that out. They weren't able to shoot it, and they still had to get this kid in this contest. So what they wound up doing was they just, originally it was just supposed to be a scene on Earth. Who cares? I would not have been excited about that if I was a kid. I'm like, you're putting me in a He-Man movie and I'm in one of the Earth scenes? It's like, nah, man, I want to be on Eternia. I want to be in Castle Grayskull. I want to see Skeletor, man. So they wound up throwing together, because it was like the only scenes left were the Castle Grayskull stuff. They wound up throwing together the scene with Pig Boy, where they just made up this character on the fly called Pig Boy, and threw together a costume for him. So he got to be a creature. He got to be a creature in the movie. He got to hold Skeletor's staff, and when Skeletor comes back to the Castle Grayskull throne room, you see him kind of snatch the staff away from Pig Boy real quick. Pig Boy gets a nice shot. So yeah, that turned out better. I think if I was a kid, I would much rather be playing a creature on the set and holding Skeletor's Havoc staff. And there's Skeletor and Evil Lynn, and you got to meet Dolph Lundgren as He-Man and all this kind of stuff. And future DC Warrior points out, yeah, I heard that Pig Boy is in the new movie too. That's right, he's in the cast listing, and he was on the Kevin Smith cartoon as a future DC Warrior points out. Yeah, he's in the scene with Goat Man. So that was some deep cuts there, getting Goat Man and Pig Boy in there. I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty funny. They're like Pig Boy and Goat Man. Skeletor is really scraping the bottom of the barrel. But yeah, Goat Man's gonna be in the new movie. And, that was crazy to me because I remember we heard that that Half-Thor, whatever, the guy that played the Mountain in Game of Thrones, we heard he was going to be in it, and everybody just figured at first, ooh, he's going to play Beast Man, but then he wound up playing Goat Man, and we're like, huh? Why didn't they get him to play Beast Man? And then I saw Beast Man in the movie, and he looks like he's an all CGI character, so that's probably why they did that. All right, so there's Gwildor out of the package. And like I said, the head sculpt, for the most part, this guy could pass for the movie version. And if I'm sure I could look online and find a 3D print, where I could make a 3D print of the original Gwildor head. And of course, the classics version looked a lot more like the movie version. But you can see the design isn't quite the same. And I think the main thing that's throwing it off for me is the nose isn't quite long enough. And he does have gills, but the gills aren't quite as pronounced as they are in the live action version. So let's set him aside for the moment. And then we'll get Orko out of the package. Orko the White. Our resurrected Orko. Man, if there was one thing that really impressed me about this show, well, there's a few things that really impressed me about this show. I know it's controversial. I know a lot of people had their issues with this show, but I really enjoyed it. But one thing I did really like was they did a really good job with the character of Orko. And they took a character who usually is just kind of a goofy comic relief character, and they were able to give him some real pathos and drama and make us really feel for the little guy, you know? I felt for him anyway. Future DC Warrior asked, do you have any of the new Masters Universe movie figures? I should be getting my movie He-Man and Teela in the mail on Tuesday. Well, that's good. The producers of the Kevin Smith show had Ted Biaselli voices Gwildor. Huh. I did not know that. I wasn't sure who did the voice of Gwildor on the show. I know it wasn't Billy Barty because he passed away some years ago. All right. So, and then this thing. Rubber tabs all over this mofo. All right. So there's Gwildor. Sorry, Orko out of the package. And he's got a little flight stand. I guess he's removable from it. Yep. And you can see he's got no legs whatsoever underneath. And it's a little ball socket peg thing. So we're going to stick that back in there. There we go. And earlier when I was pulling out accessories, he's got this long piece of the scarf, tabard, whatever you want to call it. And that has there's a little clear peg underneath here. And we can attach that on there. So yeah, this is supposed to be kind of like Orko now at the height of his powers, his full potential. On the Filmation cartoon, they always said that Orko in his native dimension was actually a very powerful sorcerer, and that his powers just didn't work correctly in Eternia for whatever reason. And in the Revelation version, it seems like Orko was just always a screw up, even in his own dimension. But but he was destined for great things. So eventually became Orko the White. So we're going to talk more about him in a little bit. Let's set him aside for now. And we got the Gwildor figure still aside, and we got some accessories that we need to talk about. Now, Orko has 2 kind of spell effects that go around his wrists. And then he's got this with the rings that can kind of orbit around him. We'll figure out how that works in a minute, but I'm pretty sure I know how that works. But yeah, Future DC Warrior asked if I have any of the movie figures yet, and no, unfortunately, I don't. I don't live in the future, so I guess that's how you were able to get them already. But I do have pre-ordered on Amazon. They had the 4-pack of the Kids Core line, the first one's line, whatever you want to call that one. The 4-pack with He-Man, Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, and Goatman, which was the main one of those that I was interested in getting, was Goatman. Never had a figure of Goatman. Never had the classics version. I'm pretty sure that's the only Goatman figure. So he's got like a nice texture here to his. I don't know if that's coming across on the camera. Like they actually gave him like a fabric texture to his coat, so that's nice. And his elbow just seems really stuck. So I'm gonna have to hit that with the hairdryer later. This elbow seems to work fine. It ratchets a little bit, which makes me think that I probably could coax this to open up, but it just doesn't seem to want to be moving. So I'm not gonna fool with that right now. Let's talk about some of these accessories, because I need to get back to the accessories. There's a lot of accessories to go over. We still got at least we got all of Gwildor's accessories still to talk about, which is at least 3 more. So here is the Sword of Power. And this is not, I don't think, just a simple repaint of the Sword of Power. I was thinking it might be at first just a repaint of the kind of standard Revelation / Revolution version of the Sword of Power, but it's not. It's actually got a few sculpted details in it where like some of the tech has been added, like some circuitry and whatnot. And you can see it's molded in a translucent yellow plastic. So the tip gives it kind of a glowing effect. And then silver on the blade, gunmetal down at the handguard, and then brown wraps around here. And hey, this He-Man figure did not come with a sword. This is the sword that I 3D printed for him, which is the movie one kind of blown up. That's made for Origins figures, so I kind of just printed it 110%. And so like I said, there are some He-Man figures that for whatever reason don't come with a sword. Well, there's a sword for him now. And as much as I love this particular sword, this is my favorite sword to print, is the movie one that Mega Custom X made. And like I said, you printed it 110%. It's the perfect size for Masterverse figures. I think for now I'm gonna leave this one with this, because this is the Revolution He-Man. He should have the Revolution sword, right? That makes sense. All right, so for now we're gonna leave that with him. And then we have the Cosmic Key. Now, this is not a movie accurate version of the Cosmic Key. And I don't remember if they had this one on the Revolution cartoon series or not. But this is what the toy of Gwildor, what his Cosmic Key looked like. They did incorporate, I think, a little bit of the detailing of the movie version into it. So it's not quite as simplified as the old one, the old vintage toy version. But you can see it's got the forks on it, like the little tuning fork things. So, and it's got a handle to it, which again, the toy, the original vintage toy, the Cosmic Key in the movie is kind of like this cylinder shaped thing. And it's easy for somebody to hold it in their hand because they've got like a real hand that can move the fingers. But when you've got like a Masters of the Universe figure, you want characters to be able to hold this thing. And of course, their hands are kind of shaped like this. Well, I don't know why I'm doing that when I can just show you. I've got one right here. So they need He-Man and Skeletor, not just Gwildor, but all the characters need to be able to hold this thing because it's an important part of the movie. So they put a handle on it, and that's how he holds it. So Bobby Wald is here and says you can almost make an Iron Throne with as many swords as there are in Eternia. Anti-He-Man came with 3. I still need to get Anti-He-Man. Future DC Warrior says, Alan, they have like 3 versions of the Motu movie. Nicholas Galzatine, I don't know how to pronounce that. Figures, Master Universe Chronicles, Origins version. I'm looking forward to the Origins version especially. And the one they call Motu Core, but it doesn't say Motu Core on the bottom. Yeah, I think it just says Masters Universe, but I think the official name of it is like Kids Core or something like that. Or maybe it's just Core, but it's the line for kids, so people say Kids Core. And I'd heard it called First Ones at first. But even then, like, I want to say that was somebody who was actually typing in a language that wasn't English, and I read it translated on Facebook. So I'm not sure if they were missing something in the translation or not. So, and they might call it like they might call it something that translates into First Ones over in, I don't even remember what language it was, Spanish or Italian or something like that. It could be Japanese for all I know. I really don't remember. But yeah, and of course I have the custom. I already made a custom 2026 movie He-Man Origins figure, which if you haven't seen that, I do have a short about it, so you can look up the short there. Kyrus1 is here and says hello, Alan. Hello to you, Kyrus, with your cool Dark Knight icon that I'm pretty sure I've mentioned before. So, and then there's the staff, which you can see the staff actually does have a translucent crystal in it. Lots of technology. It's around the tip of it. And you can see it's like this kind of curved stick. Yeah, Batman's my favorite too. I love Batman. Future DC Warrior says the Motu Origins on the basically looks like the classic He-Man 80s body with the actor's head. Yeah, as it should. But even though I already made my custom, I'm still looking forward to buying that one, and Spikor and Trapjaw. I think those are the ones that I'd seen announced for that line. So, and Beastman. Beastman is going to be up too. Beastman looks cool. I'm excited about that. And I think that's all of that's all 3 of Gwildor's accessories. So let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. Gwildor actually has really good articulation for a guy with such long hair. I think he can look up about that far, and you want Gwildor to be able to look up because he's a short little fella. So he can have a conversation with the taller characters. So there we go. That's nice. He can look down about that far. The head does technically rotate all the way around, but since he does have that long hair, it kind of bumps into his shoulders a little bit. And the kind of shoulder pieces here, they seem to be a separate piece. So they kind of move with the head a little bit, not because they're attached, but just because the hair kind of bumps into it some, but that does kind of help with the articulation, I think. So that's nice. And his arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, but again, they're going to kind of bump into these shoulder pieces. So he's got a very complex costume, which of course he had in the movie. His arms raise up to the sides about that far. And like I said, this elbow's kind of stuck, so I can't really get it to bend. I'm going to have to take the hairdryer. Excuse me. I'm going to have to take the hairdryer to it later to get it to bend into shape. But we'll do it with this elbow. So this elbow bends not quite 90 degrees. He's got a big old robe that gets in the way, and then that rotates all the way around. Of course, the wrists rotate all the way around. Probably should have done this before I put accessories in his hands. And then it's got a horizontal hinge, moves back and forth. His hands are really big. For a short guy, he's got big hands. And you know what that means. But yeah, so yeah, but they do look like exceptionally large hands. If you can see next to He-Man's hands, he's got bigger hands than He-Man. So big old chonky hands. So Kyra says, I hair dryered at my bootleg I hair dried my bootleg Spider-Man 2099 and it got damaged, ruined. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it's a bootleg. They probably didn't make it out of the best plastic. That sucks. So yeah, like I know like the old Mattel 12-inch figures, the plastic is really delicate if you apply heat to it. So some of the plastics, usually hairdryer works just fine. But some of the cheaper plastics, yeah, they'll get kind of warped. So you got to be careful with that with the bootleg toys. And like I said, with those Mattel 12-inch DC figures, some of the official toys you want to be careful with. Anyway, let's see. So he does have a waist rotation, and actually, the lower part of his robe is a separate piece, so that does rotate all the way around. Now, looking at it, I don't think this actually is a robe. I was thinking it was a robe, but it actually looks like it's a vest and a shorter skirt piece that are intended to be two separate pieces. You can see that doesn't exactly match up there. And there is a seam at the bottom of it. They get like a hem seam that goes all the way around to the edge here. So it might not even be supposed to be the same garment. It just might be two separate garments that are the same color. And then the robe underneath that, I'm pretty sure that would be the same. Dude loves his robes. He's got like 3 of them. But he says it's a little more cream colored, and it's got these 2 kind of gold patches on it. I'm not sure why gold patches, but there they are. You can see like there's some nice little pockets off to the side there. So nice little detail there. He's got a brown belt, and this is something you probably want to match up, is this little gold chain with the key on it. And he's got kind of a Sam Brown belt thing going on. These 2 clasps there. A lot of good details to this guy's costume design. And you can see there's like a brown seam, like a kind of a bronze seam that goes down there with some little details to it. Future DC Warrior says, I love your Nicholson Joker review. I should be getting my Nicholson Joker and Brandon Routh Superman next week. Awesome. I have Brandon Routh pre-ordered, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name here, Melissa Benoist. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but she's cute as hell. So I don't want to hurt her feelings if she sees this video. I'm sure she would be devastated if she saw a video about a guy sitting on his couch talking about a Billy Barty action figure that he mispronounced her name. I'm sure she would be aghast. Bobby Wald says, when you review Motu figures, you really should have King Randor with you without that fancy herpes. What do you mean hairpiece? Hopefully he doesn't have herpes, because that would be uncomfortable. But I'm sure if he did have herpes, it would be fancy herpes because he's a king. So, his mistress would be like, you gave me herpes. And he would be like, yes, well, it's royal herpes. So you should be flattered. You should be honored to have my royal herpes. Queen Marlena brought it with her from Earth. Yes. Oh, that's horrible. Kyra says, did you see the new Godzilla Haya that glows from the inside? It's pretty, that sounds neat. I'll have to check that out. I'll have to try to see if I can find that. But I haven't seen that. Is it a burning Godzilla? Like a Godzilla versus Destroya kind of thing? Because that would be a really cool effect to do with that version of Godzilla, I think. And Godzilla versus Destroya is one of my favorite Godzilla movies, so I would really like to see that. Oh, it does have a little instruction here on how to do this this ring device, and it turns out I was correct. So I know how to do it. I was looking at it and I'm like, it looks like this is how you do it. And then I saw the instructions and I'm like, yep, that is definitely how you do that. So Future DC Warrior says, I got to get the Benoist figure. Melissa. Got to get Melissa. I love that Melissa actually fought side by side with CW Crisis, and she called him her cousin from another Earth, and it's canon. LOL. Yeah, like I'm still hoping they'll do like a Tyler Hoechlin. Not sure how to pronounce his name either. That they'll still do a Superman of him, but I kind of figure those two kind of work together aesthetically anyway. They have a similar coloration to them. Or I always like to put my with the Mattel figures. I like to put Melissa with Henry Cavill. I thought they looked good together. Kyra says imitates when Godzilla is going to blow fire out. Very new thing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Future DC Warrior says Melissa and Brandon Superman fought side by side with each other. Yeah, I got what you meant. I got what you meant. So this little thingy here, this little ring thingy, is supposed to clip in to the flight stand here. And it does have like a little bit of a hinge here, so we don't have to worry about that that clear plastic being delicate, at least not as much. But then this part of it is posable. So Orko like to make these kind of rings around him, like an O, you know, or like the O on his shirt. And that wound up, they wound up getting that to work pretty well in the toy form. But let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. Orko's head can rotate all the way around, of course, and it's on a ball joint. And you can get a lot of movement and expression out of that. So that's really cool. Orko's arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, but again, they're kind of bumping into his hat and the scarf piece and all that kind of stuff. And this rubber band is still stuck underneath there. Get that off of there. And then his arms can raise up to the side about that far. He's got elbows bend almost 90 degrees. And then those rotate all the way around. Of course, they're going to bump into the sleeve somewhat. No wrist articulation, but I don't think he really needs it too much. You can pretty much get all the arm articulation out of the forearms without the wrist articulation. And you see he's got such skinny, spindly wrists. And it's probably better to not have a wrist articulation on there just because I think it would kind of interfere with the sculpt so much. Future DC Warrior says also in the episode Melissa called Brandon Ralph Cal. Aw, that was sweet. I haven't seen those in a while. So, and then yeah, that's right. That's a good point. Just realized that Melissa Benoist was Tila in Revelations. Yeah, that's right. And the guy that plays He-Man is Mon-El from that show. And they're married in real life. So lucky guy. Gets to be Mon-El and gets to be He-Man and gets to be married to Supergirl. So he's living the dream. So we can get these spell pieces onto it. Oh, by the way, that's it for the articulation, of course, because Orko doesn't have a lower half at all. Although I guess we could mention that, you know, he's somewhat articulated on the flight stand. So you can have him like leaning forward like that. You can have him standing up backwards like that. And of course, that kind of turns around whichever way you want to. So you can get some really cool poses out of the this. Oh, and like I said, I think I mentioned this before. His scarf piece here is kind of articulated. I'm pretty sure the trim on this should be painted in gold. So I'm a little disappointed that they didn't get that done. But other than that, he's a really nice looking figure. And you know, like I said, it's definitely that later version of Orko. So I don't think they ever did like a truly classic version of Orko for this line. You had kind of that beat down Orko that we saw in the early episodes of the first series. And then they have this one, the Orko the White. So I'm gonna call him that. I don't. But yeah, and they look good together. Like I think they both complement each other really well. And like I said, I really enjoyed how these two characters played off of each other in the series. So it kind of shows that Gwildor is more than just being the replacement version of Orko. He can actually interact with the proper Orko, the true Orko, and they played off of each other really well, I think. So. And he was calling Orko Shorty, and he's like, "Shorty, I can float." and I thought like you know it was great that they had this sort of rivalry going on, because you know in real life a lot of fans kind of, like I said, kind of resent Gwildor for being the replacement Orko, so it kind of makes sense that Orko would kind of have that resentment too, and kind of feel like, oh, who's this guy that like all of a sudden now you're best friends with. But they wound up working together really well, and I think they kind of had a bit of a camaraderie by the end of the episode. Anyway, as I feel like I firmly established before, I'm a huge fan of the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie, so I'm really excited to have this guy, even though he's not 100% the movie version. He still has enough love for the movie version in there. You know, just this version of the character, I think. Oh man, I didn't even notice this. I missed something with the articulation. He's got articulated ears, which I did not notice that. So you can move his ears all around. That's cool. That's really cool that they did that. And it's kind of funny because, you know, not long ago, like I opened up that Captain Carrot figure for Easter, and he had articulated ears. So a little bit of a trend there. Orko's ears are not articulated. They're just molded straight onto his hat. So point to Gwildor. Gwildor has better articulation because he can move his ears. I mean, technically he has better articulation because he's got way more articulation in the lower half. But like I said, that kind of Orko doesn't have a lower half, so I kind of feel like that's cheating. So, they did not make an Origins version of Gwildor yet. But if you wanted to use this, he's still, I think, short enough. He still works with Origins figures fairly well if you wanted to display him with your Origins figures. Although I hope that I want to say this guy's probably about the size that the vintage Gwildor figure was anyway, because he was a bit tall. Yeah, lower half. Lone Dragon is here. See if his penneth is articulated. Well, I don't want to be like getting all up into that. He probably doesn't even have. Well, he's got pants. I can't even see his penneth. So, but yeah, I mean, like seriously, he has a lower half. He has got a waist. He's got legs. He's got hips. He's got ankles. You can move these. I don't really talk too much about the leg articulation, probably because it's under the robe, but he can kick up about that far. And then he's got knee articulation. They actually put some good articulation into this guy's legs, considering how like they're underneath a robe, and then his feet can point down about that far, point up about that far, rotate a little. Max Games and Toys is here, and he says the Mighty Allen. So we got a full house today. We got Max Games and Toys. We got Lone Dragon. We got Future DC Warrior. We got Kyrus. We got Bobby Wald. We got like a whole bunch of people here. This is great. So yeah, this is a set that was definitely worth picking up. And like I said, you can get this set for a bargain price right now. You can easily get this set. I'm pretty sure that this would have originally retailed for like at least like $35, maybe like $40. And you can get this easily. Like I said, I paid like maybe about $20 for it on Big Bad Toy Store. Let me look. I'll look it up real quick. Masterverse, Gwildor. We'll just look up Masterverse Gwildor. That'll probably be the easiest way. Yeah, like Walmart has it for $22.59. Yeah, it's $20 on Big Bad Toy Store right now. On eBay, it looks like it's selling for maybe about like $30 to $45. I see one on eBay for $50. So yeah, this was probably like a $45 set when it first came out. I didn't get around to getting it until just recently. But yeah, I figure it probably retailed for at least like $40, $35. And I was able to get it on Big Bad Toy Store for $20. So that's a deal. So if you're even just kind of vaguely interested in having either one of these figures, I'd say go ahead and pick that. Biggie vs. KFC is here. It says, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Well, this guy certainly does, because he's got the power sword now. And like I said, this guy, I love this He-Man figure. Battle Armor He-Man from Revolution is probably one of the best Masterverse He-Man figures overall. I'm going to swap it out and put the Sword of Power in this hand. But the one flaw with it is he didn't come with the Sword of Power. And I get that he didn't have the Sword of Power when he was wearing the battle armor in the show, but they have where you can swap out the breastplate and give him the more traditional He-Man breastplate. So they really should have had him come with the sword. But hey, if you got this 2-pack, now you got a sword for him. And it's after Gwildor, it kind of spruced it up a bit. But yeah, I'm going to switch it over to this hand so you can do the held aloft thing. He's not holding it quite as tightly as he could. I think probably because the axe is a little bit thicker at the handle, so it kind of stretched his hand out a bit. But yeah, so if you managed to, if you bought this He-Man figure and you were disappointed that he didn't have a sword, well, if you get this guy, now you got a sword for him, don't you? So there you go. Lone Dragon says, like we don't have a dozen of those swords lying around. Well, you know, you can't have too many. Every He-Man figure should come with a sword. I think it ought to be one of those things where like I should be able to put all of my He-Man figures on the shelf, and they should all have their own sword, and I shouldn't have to worry about getting an extra one from somewhere else. Now, if you're like me and you buy a lot of extra He-Man figures for their accessories and whatnot, they're to use for customs and all that, yeah, you're going to wind up with extra power swords. But not everybody does customs like I do. So I'm just lucky in that regard. Also, I should point out, I did a good job sculpting in the gut there. Like that little bit of a gut with some of the wrinkles at the belt. I know, because that's how my own gut looks when I get my shirt tucked into my pants. Max Games and Toys says, the power of Grayskull unite us. Hell yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for these guys. I think I've said everything I need to say about them. But I do highly recommend, for anybody who's collecting the Masterverse line, if you haven't already got these guys, you should buy them. They're really cheap right now. That's a $20 2-figure set. So these were $10 a piece. That's a good deal. So, and even if you're not like really a big fan of these characters, you know, I kind of feel like they fit in well on your shelf. Plus, you get the teched up power sword, which that's an exclusive accessory to this set. Like I said, it's not just a repaint. It doesn't just have the tech parts painted on there. They're actually sculpted in. So good on Hasbro for doing it that way. So that's pretty cool. But I think no offense to Orko the White. They did a great job with Orko the White. He's really cool. But I think Gwildor is the true rock star of this set. And oddly enough, for a guy who's like a big fan of the 1987 movie, I never had the original Gwildor figure when I was a kid. I never got around to getting the classics version of Gwildor, which, you know, I would probably, if I did have that one, I'd probably like that one a little bit better. Because, like I said, he looks more like Gwildor in the movie as far as the head sculpt goes. But I'm glad to have this one. I think he's really cool. And having the toy version of the Cosmic Key, that's a nice touch. One thing I will say is that even though this is articulated and it rotates around, I wish it was like the original one where you could just kind of tap it and it would spin freely. I think that would be a nice thing. Max Games and Toy says, I'm looking for those two guys. Well, go to Big Bad Toy Store. Like, I don't know like where you buy your toys from online, actually. But Big Bad Toy Store had him for like $20. I don't know how much it is on Amazon right now. It looks like you could find on eBay, Walmart.com had them for like $20. You can get them for like 30 on eBay. So there you can get this guy for pretty cheap. Looks like they're selling like parts off of it on eBay too. You know, there's the classics version is selling a loose one for like $40. He looks like he's a little more proportioned to how the at least as far as like you know, he looks like he's a little more the correct height. I don't know, than the vintage version was. Man, somebody's selling the Masterverse Whiplash for like $100 on eBay. That's crazy. Yeah, it looks like the original Gwildor, the prices are all over the place there. I'm seeing this one for like $20, one over here for like 90, one for 110. So it looks like I'm not sure how rare a figure that is or isn't. I never really looked into it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure you can find one for a good price online. That would be in Mexico. Yeah, like does Big Bad Toy Store ship to Mexico? I don't know, because I've never actually even been to Mexico, and usually I have toys shipped to my house instead of Sean Franklin is here. He says hi, and he says his birthday's on Sunday. Well, happy birthday. I hope you have a good one. Yeah, my birthday was just a couple of weeks ago, so I'm officially an old man now. So, but yeah, I'm sure you could probably find one that'd be willing to at least ship to Mexico. Honestly, like the shipping might be the most expensive thing. Then I would think, because like I said, it's not an inexpensive figure in most places. I don't know if it came up at Amazon. I'm pretty sure you could get it from Amazon. I would have thought that would have been one of the first places it would have popped up. Well, let's go ahead and look on Amazon. Well, because now I'm curious about it. Gwildor. But yeah, you should definitely pick it up. It's a cool set. Yeah, it looks like on Amazon right now they've got some that are in the $25 range. Oh, that's with shipping. So that'd still be even like 30 in the $30 range. I think is a good price for these. Like I said, that's about retail. So, but hopefully you can find one for a good price and get them to ship it to you down there. So, but like I said, I don't know I don't know what Big Bad Toy Store does for like international shipping, because I've never looked into it. But that might be an option where if you haven't if you haven't ever ordered from Big Bad Toy Store, maybe look into that and see if that's an option. But like I said, I don't know what they do for international shipping. I have no idea. So your guess is as good as mine, man, as far as that goes. Anyway, I think that's everything I have to say about these figures now. Next episode, I'll be back with more movie He-Man related stuff. In fact, I'd say more related than this one, because like I said, even though this is a movie character, it's not the movie version of that character. But the next one is the movie version of Eva Lynn. And I think, at least as far as like the actor likeness goes, I'm not sure what the deal was with that. But that one I think looks more like Meg Foster certainly than this one looked like Dolph Lundgren. Yikes! They did not. They did not get a good likeness on Dolph Lundgren. Suspect that might be by design. I don't know. But yeah, I wound up putting the Thundercats He-Man head on there. I think it looks much better. But that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Gwildor and Orko and all that fun stuff. But YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. I like it when you leave comments, so please make sure that you leave a comment down below if you're watching this in the replay. And if you made it this far in the video, let me know what you think about how they handled Gwildor in the Masters of the Universe Revolution cartoon. How very dare I? Oh, I very dare. I always dare. I dare anything. I am Skeletor. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode. We will talk to you next time. Bye.